And that also will give you a better idea. Let's say it's a 60-inch Gravely mower you're looking for. You can go to your dealer in town and look at those 60-inch Gravely's and get a price on them and see what they look like brand new, and now go take a look at this used one, okay? That'll help you out with your pricing on there too. All right, let's see, reputable dealer. That's another thing. I would not buy a mower if, even though I love my Gravely mowers, I would not buy a Gravely if I didn't get along with that shop. If I knew that guy was a dick and he treated his customers like shit and he screwed people over and he has a reputation for that, I would not buy that mower. I would go buy a Skag or something else just because of that fact. I know I can't deal with that guy. I know it's going to be trouble, so I don't even want to go there. I'm going to get away from that and nip it in the bud, so to speak, right off the bat. All right, so the warranty thing is another big thing. If you go to a dealer, ask him if there's a warranty on this. Obviously, he got it on a trade-in if it's a used mower. Could be a demo mower or something like that. See if there's a warranty on it. When you buy from someone else, Joe Blow down the street, he's not going to have a warranty on it, so there's not going to be much you can do about that. I would still ask him. I would say, look, if I take this thing and I run it out of here and it breaks on me in 30 days, will you take it back? You pretty much got to take him at his word for it. But either guy, you got to take it their word for it, okay? But at least you can ask, so don't forget to ask that, okay? Look to see if there's anything cobbled up together. So if there's any duct tape holding something on or holding the choke wide open or string or a zip tie or something like that on there, those are all signs that this guy didn't fix things properly and he cobbles things together. So that's not really the kind of guy you want to be buying stuff from, a guy that cobbles things together, okay? Because those are always temporary fixes, okay? Make sure you test the mower. That's huge. Most people take people at face value. They don't get on them, they don't run them, they don't drive them, they don't test them. Guy can say, yeah, it cuts great, all this kind of stuff, but if you didn't try it out, get on that mower and just, start pushing it, try it out, make sure it cuts good, make sure it self-propels the way it's supposed to, or if it's a riding mower, make sure that the pumps are working right. So when you push them both straight forward, that thing goes straight forward, If it's a steering wheel, make sure that's not loose, make sure it turns appropriately, okay? All things you need to check. Make sure that the PTO kicks on and the blades are spinning. All right, make sure there's no rattle noise, especially listen for that rattle noise. You turn on that motor and she fires up. Number one, it should start pretty quick. If it doesn't, if it takes a long time to start, you could have some carb issues there or a worn out motor. Number two, if it's running and you start hearing this clunking and that old knock noise in there, bad news, get the hell away from it because that thing's about ready to blow. Don't buy it. If you hear that knock coming out of that motor is not something that's good and not something you can fix cheap. So get away from that as fast as you can, okay? Just walk away. You don't have to tell them anything. I would tell them, I would say, hey, I hear a knock in that motor. That's what I would tell them. And I'm not going to take a cheaper price. I'm not going to do anything. I just don't want it because that motor's going to cost me a shit ton of money to replace. So, not to mention $25 just for the motor, but now I got to, if it was a big Gravely, now I got to pay somebody to put it in too. So remember that. Could cost you more than what the whole mower costs you today. So keep that in mind. Check the air filter. Make sure that's good and clean. That way when you check things like that, you can see if the owner's been checking them. If he hasn't been checking them, he hasn't been doing the maintenance on them. You much would rather buy a maintained machine, a well-maintained machine, than you would a machine that a guy doesn't give a shit about. Because he just took a ton of life off that motor by not doing the proper maintenance. So it's always about the motor. Now, well, not always about the motor, but I should say, but it's extremely important to care about that motor, okay? The deck, the belts, the belts and stuff, those are things that go all the time. So that's not the most critical thing. But everything else, you look at your deck, how is it beat up? Are the spindles loose on it? And the spindles are the posts that come down that actually have your bearings and stuff in there and spin, and your blade goes on the bottom of that. Check and make sure those are not loose underneath that deck, because if your spindles are out, that can be a $100 bill to get new spindles, even more nowadays. So anyway, that's about it. I'm sure there's a million other things you can check. If you guys have any comments, leave them down below. Let people know what they should be checking, things that I haven't covered. And as always, thank you for watching. This has been George Packard with Family Lawn and Landscape.